Hello everyone, this is Lone Star Lawman with another one of my informal reviews, and today we're going to go back in history again. I know a lot of people out there right now, especially some of the older folks or like myself, are saying, what in the heck is he doing another 1911 for? Well, in years past, in the last few years, there's been a whole slew of new gun owners. And I'm betting that most of them went for the polymer striker-fired pistols, which was a good choice. They're very good because they were simple, easy to use, easy to clean, what have you. But now that these folks have become more and more experienced, I think they're ready to step up a little bit into the older gun scene, I guess, of more complicated guns. But the 1911 is not really that complicated, but it's not as easy as a striker-fired pistol as far as breaking it down and its use. Well, first of all, let's tell you what this is. I got this recently, and it is a 1911 A1, and it is the Tisas 1911 USMC. That's right, not U.S. Army, USMC. And it is patterned exactly like the U.S. Army version is. The only difference is, of course, they have stamped on the receiver, get you to see that good, on the receiver USMC. See that down there? Now, the first of all, I'm going to tell you that's not historically correct. This is a replica, basically a World War II version of the 1911 A1. Most of them would say, just like this one, some of them will say U.S. property. I don't think this, yeah, this one says it on this side. You see it again, United States property. Someone will say it right on the side here, U.S. Army, U.S. property, whatever. But I decided to go with the USMC one because I like the Marines. My son was a Marine. I'm sorry to say I was not a Marine, but I was in the service. But yes, that's why I got it. Let's talk about it. It's a government size 1911, which means it has a 5-inch barrel. It holds 7 rounds in a magazine, and that was the standard issue of the U.S. military for many, many years, all the way up to 1985. And it would be in a configuration similar to this pistol. You notice this is known as magnesium phosphate finish on both the upper and the lower frame here. It's all carbon steel. In the military, they would call this the magnesium phosphate. They call it Parkerized. So basically, it's Parkerized. Also, I should tell you that I only made one change on this pistol. This pistol is supposed to resemble the 1943 through 1945 Remington pistols that were produced, and they produced the most, even more than Colt. But they had a different hammer on here. They had a thin hammer. I liked the Colt type hammer that they were producing back then, and I'll show you that real quick here. Notice how it's wider. It's much wider than the Remington. The Remington Rands were like, they didn't flare at all. They were just straight. But that's the reason why I switched it. I've never done anything like that before. It took some effort with mainstream housing and taking the stuff off and making sure I put it on right. But I found a good video and I took my time and I did it right. Okay, because I've shot it since then and everything went well. Okay, this has wood grips. The GI model original grips usually had plastic. And the case that I got did have some wood grips, as you can see right here, that you could put on if you wanted to. They're a little bit different color, I think, than the originals. But yeah, they included that in the case. And let's see. Let me show you the original trigger, that hammer that was on here. Here it is. Okay. Now you can see how this hammer is a lot thinner than the one I have on it now. If you can see that good. Alright, so let me turn it this way. There you go. See, it's thinner. This is the one I took out right here, my right hand. Okay. So, it is like I said, it was a 5-inch barrel, government model, and the government model was the largest ones they make. They make commander side, which is 4 1/4-inch barrels, and 3.5-inch officers. Some companies actually make 3-inch barrel guns, like Kimber. Okay, the magazines that I used for this, that came with it, what came with it was this Parkerized 7-rounder, and it's made by Metgar. This is a really nice feeding ramp right here. These things are just great. And so what did I do? I went and bought me a whole bunch of Metgar blue ones. I have like 4 of them, as you can see right here. 4 of them, 5 of them now. So they go into the magazine well easily. And of course it will lock, because there's no bullets in there, and I checked the gun prior to filming here. With the magazine, it will lock back on an empty magazine. Okay, here's the release button right here. Set off the side. As you can see, it's empty. Okay, there's nothing in there. Alright, so let's go forward. Alright, there's a grip safety. These have a grip safety. Okay, and I'll let it down easy. When you learn how to shoot these things, you have to remember that there are 3 basic conditions. There's more than 3, but we'll just go over the ones that are most common. If you have this gun with a full magazine and you load it in here on an empty chamber with the hammer down like it is now, that's called condition 0, I believe. Well, correct me if I'm wrong, folks. Okay, if you put a loaded magazine in here and then you rack it and have one in the chamber ready to shoot up in here, and then with the hammer down, that's called condition 2. That's not recommended because sometimes it's hard to manipulate the hammer with your thumb, and you could get an accidental or negligent discharge, as they call it. Now, the one that's the most popular, the one that most people I've ever known, is you're going to carry this thing, carry it in condition 1, which is the slide back, the lock it back to the hammer's back. Safety is engaged. This is called the thumb safety. It's engaged, and you can see it will not fire. And this is even with a loaded magazine, okay? That's how you carry it too. A lot of people say, well, that looks scary. Well, actually though, there's a way to train with this gun to where you can draw it from the holster, and as you're leveling up onto your target, you wipe the safety like I just did just now, fire it, fire it, fire it. And if you don't shoot it till it locks back to the rear when it's empty, and say that you've got rounds in there and you just want to stop, you just swipe the safety right back up, and it's still good. Okay? All right. Yeah, let me put this down here. Okay. I'm not going to bore you with the history of the 1911. It's just that it was made by John Moses Browning, and it was kept by the U.S. Army in 1911. this is a heavy gun. It's like, I may be off by an ounce or two, but something like 38, 39 ounces because it's all steel. There's a lot of 1911s out there that have aluminum alloy frames, which knocks off about 10 or 12 ounces if you want to consider the carry. Me, I got this as a Safe Queen. It's not one I'm going to carry because, like I said, it's too heavy. It was a World War II replica, which is something I wanted, and that's why I like it. It is in 45 ACP, what John Moses Browning intended it to be, I believe. Okay? All right. One more thing I'll tell you is that replacing the grips is not very hard with those plastic grips. The one thing too is that, let me show you how to break it down. How about that, sports fans? I'll show you how to disassemble it for cleaning. I'm not going to go crazy. I'm just going to do what they call the normal field strip. And to do that, the most basic and best way that I've learned in my years of holding a 1911 or using 1911 is, number one, you make sure it's clear. Bring it back there, make sure it's clear. Engage the safety. Turn it up like this. You may not be able to see this on camera as well. But there's a wrench tool you can use, which I don't have with me. But I just do it with my fingers, even though I'm an old man and I'm afraid I might mess it up. But you press this plunger down, and then you rotate this thing here called the bushing to the 9 o'clock position. I'll show you how to do that now. Okay. You do that, and then it releases the tension on the pressure on the plunger and the spring, and that makes it easier to start your disassembly. Okay, a lot of folks will just kind of turn this bushing back through the springs, and then it comes to this side, and they can just take it off right there. They do that, or you can do that later. I mean, after you get the slide off, it depends on what you want to do. Now, the next thing to do is to take the safety off, and then you slide this slide into this little notch right there. You can see that little notch right there to line up with this slide stop. Let's try that. Okay. Once you got it perfectly aligned, as you can see that, then you can push out from the other side where there's a little, looks like a button, but it's actually part of the pole that's part of this mechanism here. You push it out, and as you see it came out a little bit, and then you rest manually, you just take it out, set that aside. Okay, now you can easily take the slide off. Okay, I do that, there you go. There's the frame. And in here, you have the recoil spring, of course. And this is your recoil spring guide. It's very short. This is known as the GI style guide rod. They do make some 1911s with longer ones, but this one is just the basic one that John Browning invented. Okay. Now to take the barrel out, you have to push this forward, this link. This is, I was taught, was called the swinging link. Some people call it the barrel link. It doesn't matter. You push it forward to take it out of here, and then slide the barrel safely out of the slide. Okay. All right. Now I don't know if you can see in here real good. It's kind of shiny. When metal goes against metal, especially on the slides, I like to use a light gun grease, and it's called Enos Slide Glide. E-N-O Slide Glide. Enos Slide Glide. I think you can find their website about where that is, and you put a brush with a little bit of that light grease, and you grease everything down, including those two locking lugs right there. And the inside seems to work well for me. And I'll show you on the barrel too. I've done all the barrel. Anything that causes friction with each other, I'm going to put grease on it. If it's something that's hinged like this, then it's just going to be a drop or two of oil. Gun oil, regular gun oil, okay? All right. Let's take a look at the frame. This one has a nice polished feed ramp that Tisas did, which helps for feeding. You'll probably find ball will work almost always, but you might have to experiment with hollow points if you decide to carry this or use hollow points, because sometimes hollow points, depending on the shape of the hollow point from different manufacturers, will hang up on the ramp there. So you're going to have to experiment with that. The only worst thing about that is experimenting with defensive ammo hollow points. It's very expensive. Okay, so let's put it back together. Hopefully I won't mess it up. Okay, let's put the barrel in reverse order. We'll go. Put the barrel in with the link down, forward of course. Push it all the way in. Then I use the spring and the guide rod, stick it right on in there, and I have to push the link up. Notice how the link needs to come up. I'll show you how that works in a second. Okay, now I want to put this back onto the slide, onto the frame, I should say, and let's try and get that right. There we go, finally. Bifocals aren't working as good today as they normally do. Okay, now we want to slide this back again to where you can see the swinging link in there. I know you may not be able to see it on camera, but you want to make sure that swinging link is lined up there. And we just to get it started, you put the recoil spring, there we go, in there. Recoil, the side saw, I should say, in there to get it started, to make sure it's all lined up. Now here comes the fun part. A lot of people, when they push this back into here, you see this little indent here, sometimes it's kind of difficult. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull this about halfway out, come up slowly, line it up with that indent, and we're going to do a little wiggle so we don't get the idiot scratch, and I'll tell you about that in a minute. And there we go, almost in. I don't think I did that right. In fact, I'm sure I didn't. Let's try it again. Okay, put that in there, bring it up. Yeah, I'm going to try and do this a little bit maybe where you can't be able to see very well, but I want to make sure I do it right. Oh yes, you have to bring, silly me, you have to bring this notch that we did earlier back over here, right? Right about right there. That's what we need. Right in there. And then we should be able to get it in right there. There we go. How about that? I finally did something right on camera. Okay, so there's the end, and now all we got left to do is putting the plunger and the barrel bushing. What I do is I put the bushing in. Of course, the bushing will go in just the way it was, the way you took it out. Hopefully you can make sure you can see this. It goes in this side. Then you want to work it around to the 9 o'clock position again. Okay. Get your plunger. If you can see that on camera. It's going to be hard to see because it's so long. Okay. Now I'm going to work this back down and then turn this back into the center so it'll be put together properly. Whoopsie. May have to do it slightly off camera. Oopsie, here we go. There we go. Finally got it on there. I hope you all saw it on camera. But that's how it's supposed to look right there. Okay. So we'll do a function check. Cock the hammer, do the safety. No problem. Okay. All right. Well, I guess that wasn't too bad. But I finally got it to work so you could see it. But this completes my review of the 1911 A1 from Tisas, T-I-S-A-S. They're from Turkey, and they've really been doing well in sales. They've even coming out with a whole bunch of new models. This is what's known as the Issued series. They're coming out with some modern looking ones now. They've been having some factory issues here lately with some recalls, but that's usually when you got a new company that's pretty upstart. They have problems, but there has been zero problems that I've read so far about the Issued series, the U.S. Army and the USMC. I've been told that it's harder to find the USMC, and they may even be a little more expensive. I'm not sure. But when I got this one here a few months ago, I was able to find it right away. It was right in the shop. Well, actually, it wasn't in the shop. I take that back. I bought it, sent it to the dealer, went to the dealer, did all the paperwork, and got it in my hands. I've taken it out a couple of times to the range, and it shoots real good. The trigger is just what you expect from a GI trigger. If y'all aren't familiar with that, a GI trigger is not as good as the custom 1911s, but it's good enough. It's pretty good. In fact, let's try it while we're talking about it. Okay, we're gonna see now, pressure, a little bit of creep, and there we go. Not bad, not bad. Now I'm still holding it down so we can check the reset. Okay, let's see what the reset sounds like. That's not bad at all. Okay, let's try that again. Maybe when you break these things in after about 1,000 rounds, they'll probably get pretty good. Okay, here's the reset. And there we go. That was a very good reset right there. So, hey, not so bad at all. Okay, let me quickly show you the box it came in. This is the box it comes in, a black box. You can see right there, black box. Notice this is where I've been keeping all my magazines. I keep my the pistol actually in a rack in a safe, but yeah, I keep all these in here. And here's another one. Actually, it comes with 2 Parkerized magazines, and I just bought me 4 more because I like to shoot 1911 more than any pistol I have. But at 45 caliber, it gets to be kind of expensive. Okay, that is all I have today, other than to tell you one more thing about the ammunition. If you want to carry hollow points, and if it does feed the hollow points, I have used Winchester Ranger 230 grain T-series hollow points, and they feed pretty well, and they're probably, it was really basically law enforcement ammunition, just like I said, because I'm retired law enforcement. I'm able to get some for myself. Okay, that's all I have. I hope you all enjoyed this. 1911s are not as complicated as they look, but the whole idea with 1911s is training to the point where it's second nature. If you draw it from a holster in condition 1, wipe off the safety and fire, and then use that safety exactly how you're supposed to use it when firing and putting it away, it will become second nature. There's a lot of law enforcement and some military that have carried that way, and it didn't cause them a problem. Actually, this gun is very safe when the hammer is up and that's engaged. And if you have a good holster that covers all this, Kydex I find is the best for that. The leather should work, but Kydex covering all of this real good When you pull it out of the holster, it'll protect it real well so it won't come down automatically. Even if it does, remember the grip safety is your secondary safety. Okay? One thing that it does not have inside is a firing pin safety like they do on the series, what they call the Series 80s 1911s. You'll run across those. A lot of modern 1911s have the Series 80. It's inside in here with it looks like a little button up near the firing pin. Okay, I'm talking too long, so I'm going to say thank you for watching. Like and subscribe if you wish. Last I checked, had 142 subscribers. I want to go higher than that. So keep after me and tell me what you think, and especially the new folks. The new folks that are introducing themselves to 1911s, tell me what you think. Ask any questions you want. I'll try to answer them online, and we'll see what we can do on that. Okay, so this is Lone Star Lawman signing off, and I'll see you in the next video.